Welcome to Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. I am Oren Stewart, your studio host. We have a great show in store for you today. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Once again, thank you for joining us here at Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. I am Oren Stewart, your studio host. Now let's introduce the hosts of the show, Miranda and Leon. How are you both doing?
Awesome. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see you both.
Hi, Oren. How are you?
Doing well. You guys have a great show.
Great. Thank you. Hey, Miranda, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Leon. And do you know what episode we're on?
Uh-oh. See, I usually ask you that question. Now I get the quiz, huh? Okay, you're going to reverse the roles on me here. All right, so I'm going to say episode 23.
No, guess again.
All right, it's not 23. Wow. 25?
No, you're close.
What? Close. So it's not 20. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right here. Higher, lower. Was that a go up? Was that a higher?
Higher.
26?
26.
Come on.
Amazing.
Wow. Who knew?
Who knew?
Wow. 20. And I didn't know it was number 26. So see, okay, you looked at all of them on our podcast sites and everywhere, and you count them up. That's what you did. Okay, all right, I like it. But yeah, this has been great to partner with you on this. I'm having a really good time doing this.
Me too. Thank you for bringing me along for the ride.
Yeah, right on. I get a lot of folks contact me about the show. The last couple weeks we've had some folks contact me to say that they disagree with some of the things that we've said or that our guests have said, and I'm like, yes, great, because it lets me know you're watching. But also, how about commenting, on the show stream to let us see it there, and
or better yet, contact us and come be on the show and tell us how you feel.
Yeah, we'd like that to happen too. So if you want to be on the show, you can contact me. My name is Leon. You can send me an email to leon@theleonthomasgroup.com. And Miranda, I love the answer to this question. How do folks get in touch with you?
There's so many ways. The easiest is to just Google me, Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch. You're not going to find another one.
I love it. I still love it. All right, great. So folks, we want you on the show. So Miranda, really special guest today. Tell us about our guest and go ahead and introduce him.
Yes, I'm so glad that we could nail him down. He is a busy guy. And one of my favorite people, and I don't say that just because he's my dean, but it's Dean Michael Cheng from Florida International University.
Well, hello. How are you all? Thanks for having me on the show today.
Thank you for being here.
26th episode. That's exactly how old I am today, too.
I love it.
You don't look a day over 25.
Do I not look like I'm 26?
I love it. Thanks. Now, did you say you all or y'all? What was that you said? You said it's good to see
y'all.
Y'all. So I have to tell you about something that someone asked me a couple years ago. They said, "What's the plural of y'all?"
Y'alls.
Y'alls?
Maybe? No, that's possessive.
That's possessive. So this person said the plural of y'all is, I'm going to try my Southern accent.
Oh,
Let me
God.
get it right here. You don't like my Southern accent? Okay, they said the plural of y'all is all y'all.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Y'all. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. But anyway, we're not here to hear my jokes, although there may be a couple more.
I love to, though. Keep going.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Miranda.
So, Dean Cheng, will you please tell us a little bit about your background? And then I have some specific questions for you about diversity, equity, and inclusion and your experiences specifically.
Sure. You want me to go back to 26 years ago or to...
As far back as you like.
I'm ancient, actually. I just look really good for my age. Can I say that?
You can.
So I was born and raised in Malaysia and came to the US as an international student back in 1991. So it's over 30 years ago now. And I came here to study management information systems, of all things. I decided I wanted to go into programming, but then after one semester, I changed my mind because it was just so boring. Not that coders are boring, but I find it to be boring. So I changed major to business administration. I followed the crowd. A lot of my friends were doing business administration, so I just followed them. And I decided that it was too broad and wasn't really sure where it was going to point me. And at that time, then my supervisor, and I was working in the residence halls food service, said, "Why don't you try hospitality management?" And I had no idea what hospitality is. So I looked it up, and she pointed me towards a advisor, a professor in the department. I went in to meet with her, and then I changed major again. So that's how I ended up in hospitality. I've been in hospitality ever since, except for a period of 2 years when I had a temporary loss of sanity and took on a role as the assistant dean for math, science, and health careers. I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, I know. It's one of those things where, at a point in your life, you wonder, do you have transferable skills? Can you work with people? I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I decided that was not my cup of tea. So went right back into hospitality and stayed in hospitality ever since.
We're glad that you made it back to the right side.
Thank you. Me too. I'm never leaving. I like my office. I like my job. It's not really a job when you like it. So I love the people I work with, like Miranda and everybody else here. So it makes coming to campus every day a fun, enjoyable experience for me.
Absolutely.
That's my background.
Say the same. Awesome. Leon, did you have any?
Well, your background, Dean Cheng, you talked about how you got into hospitality, and it's very similar to mine, and I think many others. I'm supposed to be coaching basketball at UCLA right now. By
Awesome.
this time, yeah, by this time I would have won like my 6th or 7th consecutive NCAA national championship.
Congratulations.
That's what I was supposed to be doing, and I worked at a hotel part-time as the relief weekend night auditor. Remember that position, right? And that was just what I was going to do while I built my coaching career. And I coached at several high schools and was an assistant coach at a college. And I guess I didn't win enough games. And so here's the short version of the story that happened. The owner of the hotel I was working at came in, and I checked him in. I went through the proper protocols and all.
Mhm.
And he came back downstairs and said, "Come on over, let's watch Sports Center." It was like, 2 in the morning or whatever. And Sports Center had just started this 2 a.m. episode. And I said, "I can't. I'm supposed to be behind the desk." He says, "Stop. Come on over. No one will ever know." Like, yeah, everybody will know. He says, "You check me in, right? What's my name?" I said, your name's Michael Harrell. He said, "Have you ever taken a look at the paycheck? I sign your check. Come on over here." So we built a relationship, and he knew that I wanted to be a basketball coach. And every time he came into the hotel, he would say, "How many games you won this year? How many games did you win? How many did you win last year? How many you so far this season?" I go, 2, 3, 2, 3. And he said, "Son, this coaching thing isn't working out for you. Why don't you come on into the hotel business?" And so that was my path in. So it's not something that I planned either, but here we are. Yeah. So
Yeah.
many folks have stories like that. So as I listened to you talk about yours, I was thinking about mine also and
Yeah.
wanted to
I
share.
think
Yeah.
I think what keeps me in hospitality is the people. People like Miranda, the people we work with, and what really keeps me in higher education, which I never thought I end up in higher education, is the ability and the opportunity to really positively impact other people's lives. You just can't seem to find that someplace else. Not in my limited experience, and I've been in higher ed for over 20 years now. But that's just something that keeps me fulfilled, I guess.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be here either. I started off college as a pre-med major. So a decade of college later, I get to tell my mom, yes, I did become a doctor, just not the kind you wanted me to be.
Yeah,
Um,
and I grew up in Malaysia, like I said, so traditional Asian Chinese heritage background, right? Your parents who want you to be doctors or lawyers. So it's like one of the two. So same things as Miranda. When I finally got my doctorate, I said, Dad, see, I didn't get to be a doctor. I'm just not a medical doctor.
exactly. So I want to ask you something, not necessarily as a dean, but as an Asian man living in the United States. We spoke with a previous guest, Lan Elliott, about her experience in industry as an Asian woman, and how we just don't see as much representation in top areas. Do you agree with that or disagree?
I do agree, and I think part of it is really what you choose to make of your own life, and what assistance are you willing to accept, right? So when I landed in Lincoln, Nebraska, back in 1991, it's predominantly white. It's in the Midwest, and I lived in the Midwest for 23 years. My wife's Caucasian. I always remember when I first met my wife's family, and they're up in Duluth, Minnesota, and I was just astounded by. I'm like, I left Lincoln, Nebraska, and we moved to Omaha, Nebraska, and then when Duluth visiting, I didn't think the town could be any wider than it already was. In my perspective, I'm like, wow. and and I remember going to the supermarkets, and eyes would just follow me when I walk across the aisle. I'm like,
Oh my
okay
God.
then. But I just never let it bother me really. And then it's only when I became a director and chair of my last position in Southwest Minnesota State, and I realized within higher education there really is a lot of opportunities, but you have to be, number one, willing to ask for it and willing to accept those kind of opportunities or challenges really. And you need an ally. You just need somebody to be out there looking out, pushing for you. And I never realized it myself that I was an ally, because I was always pushing. I just never saw myself as an ally for other international students or other Asians or other minorities. It's only very recently that I had the realization that hey, I'm actually an ally helping other people. um, and one of the things that I do a lot here too is with scholarships. And I realized a few years ago the reason why we award so much scholarship, number one, the money doesn't go with me, when I die. So the money sits in the foundation. Okay, is I was actually returning back what somebody had helped me when I was a graduate student. They offered me a full ride scholarship, and I was able to accomplish and finish my master's degree because of that reason. Otherwise, I would not have moved on and gotten my doctorate beyond that, really. So it's all about paying back. And so I think here's an opportunity for me. Today, I'm the only Asian dean at FIU out of 11 deans. So when I see an opportunity to help move other minorities up, I definitely will. It's just wanting to give back, I guess.
I think that's awesome. And I have to say, Leon, I may have shared this with you, but Dean Cheng is the reason that I got involved as heavily as I have with speaking out about representation. After the murder of George Floyd, Dean Cheng wanted us to have a conversation about, I can't remember exactly what the name of the conversation was.
Yeah.
But it was just a conversation with other students, other faculty of color, et cetera. And I was like, why me? I'm the whitest person in the room. I'm basically a walking Karen prototype. And he said, because number one, your specialty is organizational behavior, which includes diversity, equity, and inclusion. And two, why not you? And so that's why we're here today.
Who knew? Who knew? I didn't know that. Yeah. So you're the reason for the show, Dr. Cheng.
Oh, well, no, you're the reason.
No, we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, you mentioned that there aren't a lot of Asians, right, working in hotel management, that we need to see more of that. There aren't a lot of minorities. What's your take on how do we get more of those groups that are underrepresented? How do we get them to be interested in a hospitality career? What's needed?
I think it's not an easy task. It's a little bit of an uphill climb. So first, you have to understand the culture of the Asian people like me first, and how we view and our parents still view hospitality. It's still considered a service career, not necessarily the most glamorous thing. And like I said earlier, my parents wanted me to be doctors and lawyers. Those were or engineers. Those were the glamorous careers. So that's one thing. And then the second thing I think too is it's what I mentioned earlier, the allyship part of it. You need other people helping you, whether or not they look like you or don't look like you. But as long as we can get others to recognize, hey, if you look around and the room's entirely white, then there's something wrong, because are we really listening to all aspects of the conversation? Are we really being diverse? And is the conversation that we're having on whatever topic it is considering all points of view, or is it just pretty much a one-sided point of view or two-sided point of view? So I think those are the things we have to overcome. Now, hospitality is one of those majors that I think is in you. It's a gene that like I discovered mine, and then it's also a major where other people just accidentally fall into, and they weren't planning to be in hotel or restaurants or events, and suddenly one day somebody introduced them to it, and they go, wow, this is kind of fun. I like working with people. I like the fast pace. I like the dynamic aspect of what hospitality is, and I'm going to change major and pursue that as a career. And regardless of how much I'm getting paid and how much more money my friends are making, at one point in my life, I did think about that, about my college mates who are now making a lot more money than I am, but are they happy? I'm happy. So at the end of the day, it's like, are you glad you made the choice you did? And I definitely can say I am glad I made the choice I did. How I ended up as a minority, as an Asian, which, by the way, I'm going to segue for a little bit. I was watching this show on one of my flights, and it says how if you're a immigrant to the U.S., they call you an immigrant because you immigrated. But if you're a white person living in Asia, now you're an expat. I'm like, wait a second. I think I'm just going to call myself an expat now. Because why not?
As well you should.
Yeah. Why do I have to call myself an immigrant? I could be an expat all along.
Right.
I thought it was ironic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What you said about if you look around the room and all you see is white reminded me of what Leon says whenever he sees companies' photos.
Mm-hmm.
If they're showing company photos on LinkedIn and it's all white people, then he likes to comment, were all the black people off that day?
Yeah. Were they off? And sometimes, most recently, the response that I got was question mark, question marks, question mark. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I said, and I just came out and said it then. Where the black folk at is what I said, and there's no response after that. So anyway, yeah.
But if I were to think back, really, I had allies. I think I've been. Some days I think I live in this protected bubble for some reason. So I had allies all throughout my career. My supervisor, who told me to look into hospitality, she's a German immigrant and passes off as white as easily. My advisor, who then signed me up to be a hospitality major, also a white woman. And then when I landed my first job in a leadership position at a community college, they're all white people. So they saw something and thought that, hey, this guy could do the job and give me a chance. And I think all along the way, I've always had allies. So I'm not going to say all white people are bad kind of thing. It's just, I think the allyship piece is not really maybe acknowledged, or brought up more often when they actually are doing it.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That made me think of something else also. So I did not realize that you were the only Asian dean at FIU.
Today.
It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. But if you also look at the walls of our FIU chaplain school, right? We have large portraits of all of our previous deans who were amazing, but every one of them up until your portrait is an older white man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we love our old white allies. Absolutely. We can't do much without them. So what does that feel like? Does it ever feel like, what is that experience for you?
To be blunt on that one, I think some days it creates a little insecurity, and then other days it also gives me a sense of pride, that I was somehow able to break through And then the insecurity piece, which I think I've mostly largely overcome by now, is like, can I stack up against these other former deans who are white men, and older, much older than I am when they became deans too. So there's plus and minuses to it, and then it's a matter of, I guess, how I deal with it. And I will admit I did have a executive coach helping me, and when I first became the interim dean, and she was the one who helped me say, look, I don't know why you're looking at the color of your skin for. Honestly, you can do the job. You have the skill set. So that helped with the confidence building.
I think it's also really important that there is representation, because, our Asian students can see you being incredibly successful and really great at what you do and say, okay, just because I'm the first doesn't mean that I can't be,
Right. Right. And similarly too, we have a program in China that we've run for almost 20 years now. When I show up as the dean over there for the last 5 years, they were all expecting to see a white guy and not me. And then they realize, oh wait, he doesn't know what he's doing. So
I love that.
Yeah. Before we go on to our 2 signature questions, I want to comment about that feeling of sometimes insecurity. I feel that sometimes now in the podcast and virtual event business. Folks will say to me, yeah, there's this project's available. Why don't you bid on this? Why don't you bid on that? And I'll go, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're good enough to do it, or we're not experienced enough, or whatever. And I have friends, white friends, will say to me, why not? If they can do, why can't you do it? What do you mean you can't? Right.
Mhm.
And I have one friend in particular, he's really boisterous, right? Like, what do you mean, you knucklehead? You can, you will. Go ahead, share your screen with me now. I want to make sure you're doing it. And so, he's a different approach to allyship and support, but
Yeah.
he gets it out there. And I think, that's something many people need.
Yeah.
Many need that, even no matter where level of success we've achieved. I think
Yeah.
sometimes we all feel that, I'm not good enough. I can't do it.
Yeah. I think
So,
another
yeah.
thing is it's just us being willing to talk about it openly.
hmm
The whole
hmm
notion of allyship, and it's not really being a racist topic. It's just the whole notion of being able to have these kind of conversations, which
Yeah.
is why I'm really glad that you all invited me to join
Yeah.
and have this open,
Great.
candid conversations.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. And we're going to take a quick shift away from that subject and go to something really, really cool. Let's talk about food.
Oh, my favorite topic.
Yes. Have you ever had a Maryland crab cake?
I've had Maryland crab cake. I'm not sure how authentic it is because I've never had it in Maryland.
Hey, at least he acknowledges it.
You acknowledged it. Yes, I'll give you a thumbs up for that. Yes, you said it wasn't in Maryland. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's great. So we'll have to get you to come to Maryland,
I would love to.
and we'll do 2 things when you're in Maryland. We'll have a real crab cake, and we'll play racquetball. That's what we'll do.
Leon's big into racquetball.
Do you have to be athletic for that? 'Cause I'm not.
You're not athletic?
Barely.
That's good. Then I got a chance of winning. Good. We like it. Come on up quickly. Yeah.
So not only am I not athletic, I'm also not coordinated.
Ooh, I can win 2 games.
Perfect opponent.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
I'm going to end us with the question that I like to ask all of our guests, and that is, what would you go back in time and tell your 20-year-old self? And it can only be one thing.
Travel more, really.
Good advice.
I wish when I was younger, I would have said, yeah, let's go on a road trip. Okay. Instead of wondering and worrying and like, is the car going to break down? Can I afford it? Just like go on a road trip. Just have a great time. I would love to see the world, and I still am, and slowly making my way across.
I was about to say, you travel more than anybody I know, so you're definitely making up for lost time.
Thank you, but barely. But my wife would agree with you.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Like I said, we really appreciate you, and we appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you, Miranda, and thank you so much, Leon, for inviting me. Thank you both for really for this honor of joining you on your show today.
Thank you. Thank you for being our guest. We appreciate you being here. Let's bring on our studio host, Orrin Stewart. Hey, Orrin.
How are you both doing? That was a great episode. I'll tell you something. Dean Cheng, thank you for joining us here today at Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. We have great people that show up and come and share what it is that they do and that they're making a difference out here in the world. So please continue to tune in. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.